Move on.
Hey, here we are. EAC Zoom meeting, February 10th. We're going to call this meeting to order. This meeting to order.
Order to meeting?
I know. It's just going to be that day today. Do I have a second? Whatever, or am I just calling to order?
Second.
Okay. Okay. So did everybody, I didn't hear or I didn't see any revisions to the meeting minutes from February. So I'm assuming they were all okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no issue with them. I don't.
Okay. I will finalize them and get them out by the end of the week. I'll be out in the field for tomorrow and part of Friday. So, but they'll get out before the end of the day on Friday to everybody as final. Okay. The next two we're going to kind of lump together because we really
Did we approve the minutes?
Oh, sorry. Are we going to approve the minutes? I'm sorry. My head's like really not into it today. All right. So do we approve the minutes?
Well, I approved the minutes of February 10th, 2021. We need a second.
I'll second.
All right.
So we vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so be it.
It's unanimous.
Wow.
I think I figured this out by now. All right. Items 2 and 3 on the agenda are they're going to happen. We have a tentative date for October 23rd for the actual tree planting at Patterson, but really nothing's happening at this point. And the Arboretum planting is going to happen. I guess, Jim, have you been in touch with Monica?
Yeah, well, yes, I've been in touch with Monica. I told her that I spoke to the people at Fernwood, and they will plant, 2, let's say 3-inch approximately caliper trees, deliver, plant, and guarantee for a year for between $800 and $1,000. And we talked about that briefly last meeting. Suzanne thought that was the way to go. So did Monica, and I certainly think that's the way to go. We don't want to save $100 or $2 by having some volunteers kill themselves on this project. And I'm going to be talking to the people at Fernwood probably next week. And before I do that, Linda, I'll touch base with you. I just want to go over their tree list availability again. And there's several options that we have as to what we want to choose. And again, I would value your input, Linda, because I know a lot about trees from a theoretical basis, but you are more practically ground because you deal with that all the time. So I'll be talking to you about that.
Okay, yeah, and then eventually we'll need a quote from them to present to the board.
Yeah, I talked to Suzanne about that briefly last meeting. I talked to Monica, and she was fine. She said we can do it any way we want. Firstly, we don't have to.
No, we can, but we still have to present like an actual quote so that the board can at least look at it and approve it.
No, I agree.
We just can't say between 8 and we have to say this.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'll have the exact number when I deal with these people. It depends upon the exact caliper of the trees.
Oh, yeah.
2 to 3 inches. And, there's just minor differences in cost. But Monica said that she would even write a check first or have them bill us or whatever the way they wanted to do it. So, but
the way we've done it for the past tree plantings is they give us the invoice and then I think we have like 30 days to pay. Like we don't have to pay on the spot. They'll give us the invoice once they do the work.
Yeah, and I think that's the easiest way to go. So that's I'm sure Fernwood will be good with that.
Then once we get closer to knowing when that's going to happen, we can talk more specifics. But yeah, once you talk to them and get species, just let me know and hopefully we can agree on what these 2 plants are going to be then.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably late April planning. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that should. Yeah, I don't want to, because they're going to be bigger trees. I don't want to go too far into May.
Well, no, that's why I figure in April.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good plan. And I'll come up with a date in dealing with those people too. Of course, we don't technically have to be there, but somebody from the EAC should.
No, I think somebody should be there just to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, take some pictures. Make sure we want it where they're supposed to be.
Yep, exactly. That's what I plan on being there.
Yeah, whether it's you or me or somebody should definitely be there to see it.
Yep, sounds good.
All right.
After the last meeting, this is FYI, Suzanne asked me to send her the Lower Makefield tree planting plan, the 14 sites that I guess it was Boucher and James helped come up with and did the schematics and all that. So I sent those to her, so she's interested in that. And I also sent a document that showed how Boucher and James, the township engineer, was able to just purchase plants and plant them and then just bill the township for them. And there was no township personnel involved other than, I guess, Terry Fedorchak signing off on it. So I'm going to keep encouraging her, and maybe we should, to do that, because we got the money in the tree bank and it's just sitting there, and this is the way it's been done before. And I don't see why we can't hit some more of those locations in the tree planting plan and have, who's our Remick and Vernick, the township engineer, handle it. So we'll see.
Yeah, you're talking to Monica, is that, or Suzanne?
Suzanne asked for that after our last meeting.
Okay.
And I guess she's not on, so we can't talk about it, but
No, maybe sometimes she comes a little later, but anyway.
yeah, hopefully we can.
No, I think that's a good idea, Alan. I mean, if we keep on top of them, you know my feeling with that money. I want to start spending it.
Yeah, it's not a heavy lift for the township to do this. So
Right.
hopefully they will.
I had some thoughts on how to use some of the tree bank funds. The Yardley Shade Tree Commission purchases trees and distributes them.
Mm-hmm.
So is that something that we could do as well? Because we have the funds, we have a lot of opportunities to get trees at subsidized rates, and actually give them to, let's say, residents and say that specifically obviously we will be choosing only native species, and give them to people to and be specific about things like plant this along your, if you have a riparian, if you're along a stream bank, you should use this for this, and specify where these things should be used, maybe along avenues, along streams, along pond edges, because we have some, I think it's a silver pond, and you can see lawns going right up to the water. So I was just thinking if those funds could be made available to people via trees or shrubs, whatever, some plant material, and say this is meant only for this. So some sort of a subsidized or a grant program. It could be a subsidized program because buy-in is good to have from private people to encourage planting where we want, native planting where we want them to go to.
Well, the only thing is, I think the tree bank specifies that I think trees cannot be planted on private property. I think they have to be planted on public property.
I don't remember seeing that. I'll look again. But I thought the money just had to be spent to purchase and plant trees.
No, I think there's some specific wording.
Okay, well, we can check
I'm
into
not 100%
that.
sure, but I think there is.
Yeah.
So if the idea is attractive, we can always, get an amendment to the ordinance as well, amendment to the tree bank fund thing as well. But the thing is, the idea is how to get more trees planted fast. So this was one of the things I was thinking about. There are, the Yardley Shade Commission does exactly that. We have so many opportunities to get trees at subsidized rates, good species. And so therefore we are forcing them to plant natives because we're not going to give them anything else. And if we can say this is meant for only these sort of locations.
Yes, buffer locations, things like that.
Maybe rain gardens or whatever, like we could have a list of things. So
I guess it depends. So the subsidized trees, how big are they? Because if it's something that a normal homeowner can't plant on their own.
Oh, no, whatever. We can choose. I mean, we don't have to buy the bare root PHS trees. See, we have that. We have this other program that I sent. I had the 10 million trees program, which Megan Rogales had sent. So that does not talk about planting. That does not limit planting to municipal land only.
Yeah.
So we have sources. We have our own funds. If we put all those things together, even if we have plenty of money, we could, give it. We could say that homeowners put in 25% or something like that, something to make them serious. And this is meant for planting in these sort of specific areas only. So even if it starts off with 5 people who come in the first year and who take advantage of it, I think that would be a big success, because then they'd start talking about it that, oh, we are getting really cheap trees from the township. It will sort of have a roll-on effect.
All right. It would be some work to do this program. Maybe you could write up the steps that would have to happen. I mean, we'd have to get approval.
Sure.
A source for the trees, then some way to publicize it and get people to sign up, and then have a Saturday where they come and get the tree and take it home or something like. Yeah, figure it out what exactly has to be done.
Sure. And I'll share it with you, Alan. And once we have something which we think is doable, we can present it to the EAC.
Okay. Because
Upper Makefield Township actually has a program, and I think it's still in effect, where if a homeowner purchases a tree, they subsidize the cost. I think they give them $25 or $50 for each tree that they'll purchase and plant on their property. So, that might be another way of approaching this as well.
Yeah, that'd be a little easier.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, that the tree bank funds can take care of the majority of the cost. So that's a big attraction for people looking to buy trees. Trees can get expensive if you have to plant 10 of them. So
yeah, it would be public goodwill too if we do that.
As long as, like you were saying, as long as the ordinance doesn't prohibit private property, then
check into that.
Absolutely.
Well, if it does, we can make a motion to get that amended. But let's see whether we have a workable plan.
Okay.
Yeah, though I think what they do in Upper Makefield, if they subsidize 25 or 50, if we're allowed, I mean, maybe we could subsidize half the tree or the whole tree or whatever the story is, but that's a heck of a lot easier approach than, getting into, purchasing all the trees and, for the homeowners and that sort of thing. I think it would be an easier approach. But
the reason I was concerned.
Both are viable, though. And
the reason
something on this, right, Surya?
Yeah, I was concerned that they may not buy native species.
Okay.
That was my concern. Like if you give them plant material instead of cash, then there is that oversight is taken care of.
Yeah, or they could present the bill after they plant the tree, present the bill and maybe a photo of the tree planted, and then we'll.
If it's something that the homeowner is going to purchase the trees, then we need proof of what the trees are.
Yeah, and how much they sell.
Yeah, but I think that's, again, a much easier approach, and I think it could end up accomplishing the same thing. But anyway, I think that's something certainly worth looking into, and you're going to write up something on that, Sumya?
Yeah, I'll put my thoughts to it and share it with Alan so he can find out all the holes, and we can, Upper Makefield is what you said has a program. We can try to see if we can talk to people who already have, townships where such things are being implemented and learn from them as well.
Yeah, I think the best ideas everybody has.
Ellen, land use?
Yeah, I'll try to run through this quick. Let's see, Pickett's Preserve, just to refresh everybody's memory. We sent out a comment letter, our second comment letter on January 21st on the December plans Pickett Preserve had submitted. And on the 25th of January, the Planning Commission recommended its approval to the supervisors. So after that, the applicant submitted another plan with just minor little revisions on February 11th. So that's the latest plan, February 11th. And they went before the supervisors on March 3rd and just gave an informational presentation about what the changes were and where they were at and all that. And the supervisors didn't vote. So that's where it stands right now. And I guess we could submit a third letter, but I don't know of any new issues. It'd kind of be a rehash of the parking, the number of parking spots, because it's just silly to me. They could do a parking spot study for about $10,000, and that's the cost of 1 or 2 parking spots. So, I mean, they're putting all this money into parking. It seems like they might want to spend a little money to see if they really need all that parking. So I could briefly suggest that in one comment. And then a second comment I want to make on the stormwater, a follow-up to a comment I made in our previous letter. It involves this credit they get for evapotranspiration from the detention basin. It just seems a little loose the way they did it. And I contacted Pennsylvania DEP and they kind of agreed. So I may just give their response to our question to Pennsylvania DEP, just so our township engineer can see it and see if he thinks it should be revised, stormwater management. But that's it for Pickett's Preserve. So should I go ahead and put out a brief, just a 2-comment letter number 3, comment letter number 3? I mean, I think they're going to go to the supervisors for approval in April.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, Ellen. What do the other people think?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
There's nothing to lose. I mean,
Right.
Whether they seem to be digging in their heels on this parking. Suzanne, March 3rd meeting. So
cutting out Alan.
We're losing Alan a little.
It's frozen. Yeah, I don't even hear him now.
Can anybody hear us?
I can hear you guys. I
What
think
about
Alan looks
you
frozen.
hear me?
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, you're frozen. Your eyes are closed and your mouth is open. So how do we do this, John?
Oh, he might have gotten in and out at this point. So
I'll go ahead and submit a brief 3rd comment letter.
okay.
But what I was going to say is Wegman has almost $10 billion a year in sales. So they're a big corporation. So
Yeah.
big corporation.
Did they say anything at that, have they said anything else about the trees?
Everybody wants them to put in the replacement trees. Even the supervisors indicated that, and they keep fighting, but they're fighting less and less. So I think they may eventually come out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Quick, the Gomez subdivision. The Planning Commission talked about that on March 8th, which is just Monday. And they approved it, but they incorporated most of our comments. The tree replacement, they're going to have to address that. They moved the part of the stormwater management system out of the buffer, and that's good. And our suggestion for a conservation easement on the buffer, stream buffer that's on the lot to make sure it never gets developed in the future. They're going to leave that up to the supervisors and the applicant too. The applicant wasn't on the call, their engineer was, so he didn't want to say one way or the other. So that's where that one stands. So that'll be going to the supervisors probably in a month or so for their approval. And one more thing I want to quickly bring up that just came up a few days ago, and this is a property near you, Jim and Jean. It's at Woodland Drive in West Schoolhouse Lane.
Yeah, I know a bit about that, Alan, but you're nickel first.
Okay, yeah, they want to divide. Now it's like the Gomez property. It's a big property. They want to divide it and build another house on part of the property. And they want a zoning variance that they can develop within, I think it's 40% of the wetlands buffer. So they need a variance for that. And they're going to the zoning commission on March 16th. And hopefully the zoning commission won't allow them to do this. I've seen on Facebook and the next door neighbor side, there is opposition to this. People are a little concerned about it. So,
yeah, well, Jeff Gall actually sent me an email, and he copied Ed Book. And Ed Book is the gentleman, I think, who lives right next door to this. And the reason Jeff referenced me was because of that long-term issue across the street from us when they built that house. Now, ultimately, I told the guy, I gave him a little, some brief comments about, what happened with us. And what we actually ended up doing, and the property should never have been built on in the first place, but Pennsylvania is a property rights state. So the inference is in Pennsylvania that if the property were subdivided at one time, then the owners should be able to build on that property. But where on the property they should build and what they should be able to build is a whole different thing. This is actually a flag lot. I think there were 8 variances the last I looked. I took care of this about 3 or 4 hours ago, so that's why it's fresh in my mind. But the fellow who lives next door is going to be calling me in the next day or two, and I'm basically just going to give him, some info on our experience. We actually held off development on that lot for 20 years, but ultimately it was built upon, but it was built at the top end of the lot, and it was heavily buffered with greenery. So we hardly, ever see it. The problem is for the people who own the house, and that's the big problem here. They actually have no front yard. They have a $750,000 house with basically no front yard and a minuscule backyard, and they are prohibited from taking down any of the trees. So, in essence, they're paying a price for the builder's reluctance to want to build on that piece of property. So again, I'll talk to that fellow and probably be able to report something the next meeting as to what's going on.
Yep, you should listen to the zoning board meeting on the 16th. I mean, you can go online and listen to it.
Yeah, I'm going to plan on doing that.
Yeah, I'm going to listen too, see what goes on.
Yeah.
Hopefully they won't do like a Timco property, because this is kind of the same deal where they want to build into the buffer. So the property at Edgewood and Shady Run Road.
Right.
That one, yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, the way it actually works is if they end up building on that, they have to go with the minimum variances possible to build on the property. But this thing is a mess. It's wetlands, it's buffered, there's all kinds of environmental restraints on it. Again, in New Jersey, this property would never be built upon, but their laws are different. In Pennsylvania, it's, I think, a different story.
Yeah, and we're seeing this more and more as the buildable property gets reduced, people are going to want to build where they really shouldn't be building, where there's natural resource issues. So
Yeah, that's the key.
yeah, so we'll be
Would
seeing.
you say that's at Woodland and West School Lane?
It's at
Woodland and South, I think.
Woodland Drive and West Schoolhouse Lane.
Oh, is it?
Huh.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you. If you were at your house, you could walk right down, see it.
Yeah, yeah.
We could check it out.
Yeah. All right, that's it for land development.
Okay. All right, so we have, for the recycling, we have a date for the styrofoam recycling. Did you guys get in touch with Mark? I'm assuming somebody got in touch with Mark to confirm that?
Did you
Yeah,
do it?
I did get in touch with Mark, and that's good for him.
Okay.
All right, and everybody's collecting their corks.
Yeah, I heard.
Oh, we are doing the corks also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, come on.
And it's real corks, right, Alan? Plus
Real and synthetic.
and
The
synthetic.
website. Yeah.
You know, this project has costed me a lot of money. My wife's drinking like just to be able to get these corks ready for the recycling. Just as you all recognize that, okay? So that's my contribution.
Yeah, I tried to find out about this pillbox recycling. So apparently what I understand is pillboxes are usually plastic number 5, and they're collected by recycling agencies. But the problem with pillboxes and other small items are that physically they are small size, so they get sieved through some sort of there is some sort of size problem that they escape the size that they recycle, so they get into the lot that goes to the landfill. I was trying to verify this from Republic, but you just don't get connected to somebody. But if that is true, then that means that although in terms of plastic quality they are collected, but they actually end up in the landfill because of size. They go.
Wow. Yeah.
And I also contacted TerraCycle to find out if this was the case, but nobody at TerraCycle picks up any phone. And if you send them a message, I got a reply 1 week later, just saying that buy a box, one of our boxes, and look up the cost on the website. So they're just trying to sell me some box, but nobody was available to answer any questions.
Right.
They never pick up the phone. I have tried them a million times. So I also call this. There is this NGO, nonprofit, church-based in, I'm forgetting where, Cincinnati, I think, which collects pillboxes, and they ship them for reuse in some of the South American countries as pill bottles. So,
Really?
And apparently that's a huge program that they have. They have lots of groups that send them boxes. So they want boxes which are cleaned up and labels removed, and they actually ship huge pallets to these countries, to these organizations, wherever they have partnerships with other agencies. And they're filled with pills and given to people in those countries, apparently, which lack such facilities. And if they have extra, then they recycle that. So, before we send ship something far away, I was trying to see what happens to our pill bottles here, but I haven't managed to get through to the local guys. Do any of you have people heard anything about this? That things which are small size, like bits of glass, whatever is small size, there is a separation sieve. So the bigger ones get recycled, and these things just go into the landfill in any case.
Right. Did you try, Sumya, talking to Waste Management?
Not yet. I was trying Republic because that's what we have here.
Right.
But you just hold on the phone forever, and this is
Right.
back to you, and nobody does.
Yeah.
So there's possibilities there to
Right.
collect pill bottles and mail them to this church-based group. Do we want to do something like that?
I think we need to find out more whether they are recycled and whether we need to do it. And if we collect them and take them to waste management, will they still just go in the landfill? I mean,
Right.
we have to somehow make sure.
No,
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to figure. That's what I read, that the recycling agencies will collect them, but because of the small size, they will not get recycled.
Yeah.
So I wanted to verify that, which I haven't managed to get through to
Okay.
anybody to do that. And I've been in touch with the church-based group. They're quite happy to get any quantities
Okay.
that we can send them.
Try and find out, because we should determine what we're going to collect at this event by next meeting.
Yeah.
Am I frozen? Okay.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. By next meeting. So I'd like to get a flyer out, maybe the middle of April, start putting flyers out, and then we got to get the rest of the publicity going. But so we should, yeah, anybody who has ideas on what we could collect at that May 15th event, let's, solidify them, and we'll make the decision next meeting. And I
Okay.
put the flyer
So
together.
in case I get through to Waste Management Republic and I find that this information is correct, are we interested in collecting? And then there is a cost of mailing these pill bottles. Would the EAC be willing to pay that money?
We have a fairly big budget, so
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what our budget is this year, but it's usually around 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah,
It's generally 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, that cost is not an issue.
Okay.
Yeah. But see, with the corks, I think doesn't cost us anything at all, right, Alan?
If we get 500 of them, so that's why
Right.
we're counting on you, Gene.
You're putting a lot of pressure on Gene.
Well, it's funny because when we first got to Florida, a friend of mine had walked by the house, and she said our mailbox was, the lid was open, and she said she saw some mail in there, and she also saw a whole bunch of corks. So
All right.
somebody has already started.
Watching our
Yeah, right.
And you were talking about printer cartridges, Gene?
Oh yeah, that's right. What?
Usually like Staples and Office Max will take
They already
printer
take
cartridges.
them? Okay. Well,
Yeah, if you go, I know because I have an account through Staples with work for printing, and they will take toner and printer cartridges to recycle.
Right. But I can't even remember who suggested this, but maybe it was Kristen, the pizza box lady. She suggested collecting those and just going into like one of the stores that does collect them and dump them in their box.
yeah.
I don't think there's like a specific box. Like when I've done it, I've had to go to the register.
Oh, really? Okay.
We could do that and just dump the whole box.
I know. Here's my box of cartridges.
Well, you know what? I'll ask Kristen to explore it further and find and make sure that if we collect them, we can.
If anybody goes to Best Buy or one of those places, look
Yeah.
at the box on the
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how other stores do it. I know how Staples does it.
staples, yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk to Kristen.
Yes. So figure that out by April's meeting.
Yeah, okay. March's meeting. Oh, no, this is
Oh,
March's.
this is March.
About.
And then I guess, did we find out, or Jean, did you find out anything else about the LMT park recycling? The woman or group of women who said that they were gonna.
Yes, yes. I heard from Nicole, that was Nicole and her sister, although her sister, I don't think is doing it now, but Nicole said a few weeks ago, I asked her if she would take it on again. She had done that one park and not gotten back to doing any others. And I asked her if she was going to, and she said she would do it, but, and then it snowed. And so I did get an email from her maybe a couple of weeks ago saying once the snow melted, she'd get back into it. So she's kind of working on it.
Gene, you want to meet with Monica in April and talk about the park recycling?
I guess we should, huh?
Yeah. Because is she having in-person meetings? Did you guys on the trees meet in person?
No, we had a Zoom meeting.
Okay. Well, so yeah, we could have a Zoom meeting anytime then.
Right.
Yeah.
Whenever you want to set it up, Alan, that'll.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be talking.
Yeah.
Can you tell Alan hi for me?
No.
What did you say?
To do a.
All right. So the lecture series, so the lecture series in terms of that, Sumya's been doing a good job with contacting Monica to try and get a separate educational discussion put together. She can bring you up on that one.
Yeah, there are a couple of things. One is this composting with Heather. So Heather has already given me a topic and a couple of sentences on it, and she suggested around Earth Day.
Did you say around Earth Day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good.
So, but before that, I'd already contacted Monica in terms of logistics as to how does one do it in the current circumstances, Zoom and all that. So she got back with a huge bunch of questions asking how will we, she had her own concerns. And she suggested actually April would be a good idea because it can go in the March newsletter. So after that, I contacted Heather and she gave me this information about the topic and suggested this date. So I have contacted, sent Monica 3 reminders, no response so far, and it's already mid-March. So I don't know about that, but I guess she's just too busy. I'm sure lots of things are happening with spring, and she's normally very good at getting back. So I think she's just overwhelmed. So all the information is there. And in terms of logistics of arranging it, I guess that is out of our hands. We have to figure out what the township can provide us. And the only other thing I can think of is that if they are too overwhelmed, whether we can do it on our own. But I guess we do have to go through the township. We do need their offices to formalize it, right?
Yeah.
So that's where it is at. Whenever Monica gets to that, we'll know. The other thing was an opportunity from Penn State Extension. Kathleen had, I think, sent an email to all master watershed stewards, and I had done that course a couple of years back, asking for whether anybody was interested in doing walkthroughs through riparian planting, and she had given some 6-7 topics. So out of those, the riparian buffer planting immediately was attractive to me because we've done half of the stream in Patterson Farm. So that is a possibility. And the other topic on her list was macro invertebrate study. And since Monica had said that some people from Silver Lake Nature Center had done the same study at 5 Mile Woods during her summer camp last year, and that was very well received by kids because kids love to get into dirty water and collect junk and creepy and crawly things and count them. So it's generally a very, I guess it's an attractive thing to do. So I suggested to Kathleen that we could look at riparian buffer plus macro invertebrate studies in 2 parts of the stream, because one has a buffer planted recently and the other one is still open. So that would be a good
little scientific project.
Yeah, that would be a good baseline. And it's been, let's say 6 months, but so she said she would get back to me as she hears more about the program from Penn State. But tentatively in May is what she knows so far. So we can actually, I think, go ahead and plan something on our own and ask for Penn State resources, which are anyway available free to all master watershed stewards or whatever. So, and if that works well through their system, fine. Otherwise, we can just do it on our own as well. I mean, what I'm saying is it requires planning. And I don't know how much time she's going to give us if she has not yet gotten back to plan for something in May.
Yeah.
So if we have somebody, I'm just throwing it out there. Do we have somebody who can do the riparian buffer walk. Supposing, Linda, are you up for it?
Yeah, I can do the walk part. I used to be able to do the macroinvertebrate stuff, but I'm not very good at that anymore.
Okay, so I have done the macroinvertebrate stuff through the course. So maybe if both of us and with help from them, when we had done it through the Master Watersheds program, we had gone to the Stroud Center.
Yes, they're great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a link up there. And also, since our township has already linked up with the Silver Lake Center, we can also link with them and maybe both of us can put something together.
Okay, sounds good.
So I just felt that it's a good opportunity because the planting has been done 6 months back and hopefully Penn
And it would
State.
be good. Yeah, it'd be good to like see how the plants are doing and
Yes.
go through all that. Yeah, absolutely.
So, so we can have a tentative plan, and if Kathleen comes back, I'm just worried that if she has not yet gotten back, there's very little time to plan. So if we plan on our own, whether they come back in time or whatever it is, let's work something out so that it can be done in May sometime.
Yeah, Gene and I actually took that course at Stroud Research Center, and it was absolutely fascinating. This was several years ago.
Yeah.
Possibly, we do have a budget. Maybe we could get somebody from Stroud to come out and run like a class that day.
I think it's not so complicated. If we have the literature and if we have the guidance, which is what Penn State Extension is supposed to provide to Master Watershed Stewards, we should be able to do it. They want more and more people to be able to do it, right? Mm-hmm. They want more leadership created. It's not so complicated. We just need to know the chart and the scientific stuff, which they have all the publications and we can equip ourselves with that. So, and if we take two sites, one upstream and one along the buffer, so it's like two groups. So we can split ourselves in two groups and do it. So Jean, you, me, Linda, we can all do it that way. It's not so difficult, but we need to make sure we have the right technical know-how and the equipment and stuff like that. And nothing is complicated. We just need the right chart and the right stuff and the right explanation so we can prepare. So I can put together some outline for that and share it. And I can ask Kathleen what resources we can tap for that from Penn State. This is like while she's getting to know more about what the official program is supposed to be.
Yeah, and it can always be in June too if things get backed up too much.
No? I think it's better to do the macro stuff in May.
Okay.
Maybe early June. If you go too late, things have already
flown away.
Come out.
The cycle.
Yeah, so I think actually May is probably the best time to do this.
All right. Yeah. Not an expert.
All right.
All right. So what's next? The web page.
Actually, there's one more item on the lecture series, and again, that has to do with the lecture on the trees. And again, I'm more comfortable when that can be done on a real basis. And again, she's very flexible, the woman. So, and I'm sure has no problem waiting till later in the year when hopefully the restrictions will, relax a bit. So.
Do you think that's something we can do? Like if we want to do it in person, is it something we can do in the field also?
It's possible. The problem is it's a PowerPoint presentation. So I don't know exactly how you would, do that in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to do it at night.
Sorry. After Jim is finished. Jim, are you done?
Yeah, sure.
I forgot another possible lecture idea was this riparian buffer on private land. So I had mentioned in the last master watershed meeting that it's easier to do it on municipal land, but how do we turn the tide and get past the low-hanging fruit, so to speak? So whether they know of any locations where private landowners have actually implemented such things, and whether we can have that kind of a discussion within our township and see what interest we can generate and create a trend. So Megan was very interested in that because that is a bottleneck. How do you reach private landowners? So she suggested, she said that she would come back with people whom she saw good cases. So she came back with 2 contacts. One is one single resident, and the other one is a development association. So in the association on the whole took the decision and planted along the riparian buffer. So that is something I was wondering if we generate enough noise on riparian buffers in general, we can invite these groups. One is this the person from the resident association and the private landowner to talk about what problems they have and what their what do you think of before you want to spend money doing this? What are the concerns from an private owner point of view, and why they did it and how they find it, and success, etc., etc. So that's a third idea for a workshop. She's given me the contacts. I haven't yet contacted those people. So Jim, you said you were interested in this, right?
Yes.
I'm wondering if you start.
The problem is we're gone about half a year. So it all depends upon, the timing for things like this.
Yeah, I think we just have to get the conversation going and see what we can find implementable, and then find a suitable time at that point.
Right.
What about starting the conversation with the Every Bit Counts that you started?
Yes.
Started as that, but so put something together and then have Monica like a mini discussion with those 2 entities, and then put it in that so that people can at least read, get their interest started there first.
That's an excellent idea. I didn't even.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Very good idea.
Yeah, because that way at least people will read it, and then we can and at the end put something like, if people are really interested in this, we can get these people to come and actually have a talk about it.
Yeah, and we can give them some money from the tree bank funds if they want to plant some trees in their backyard.
And then exactly.
Yeah.
Let's confirm that. Let's confirm that part for the last part first. But yes.
That's what the next issue is going to be on. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
No.
I like to kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
No.
Actually, I don't like to kill birds at all, but okay. All right. So, that actually brings us to the webpage and the newsletter and Every Bit Counts. So now we know what the next Every Bit Counts article is going to be. The webpage has been started to be updated.
Partially. And there's another second lot of revisions that I have sent Monica. So I'm sure she'll get to it whenever she gets to it. So the web page has become a little, I thought it was a little unwieldy because you have to scroll down and you don't really know what the different subheadings are. And I looked at the main Parks and Rec site. So they have those buttons for every topic, like an index. So I hope they get to do that for ours as well.
No, that's a good idea because it does. It's kind of like a cheat sheet. So it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I guess that brings us, so that brings us to the Environmental Stewardship Award, which was presented on the 17th. Yay.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think she did a really good job in the presentation. I had talked to her beforehand, and Mark and Dara, I think, were certainly very deserving of the award. I delivered the plaque to them, I guess, about a week before the ceremony. And it's just too bad it couldn't be done live. But I'm going to ask Mark and Dara for a photo maybe their son can take it, of them holding the plaque, because I maintain good historical records on all the awards that have been given over the years. The board was, I think, unanimous in their praise for, the selection this year. Real good publicity, I think. And also, as part of the Yardley Living article that we'll be discussing shortly, Heather DePrado actually included in there a lot of information about the award and how people can nominate other citizens. So I think that'll be helpful. Hopefully, getting together some nominations for this year. So anyway, very successful, I think, and it's a good program. And especially now, when we upped the award to $1,000, somehow $500 sounded, kind of chintzy, but $1,000 sounds good. So anyway, and they selected the Delaware River Keeper Network. And I know Maya Van Rossen personally, but she wasn't there, but she had a representative there. And they were very, very pleased and said that $1,000 goes a long way in their organization. So they were very pleased and thankful. So all in all, good publicity.
Yeah, so hopefully between that and the Yardley Living article, we can get some nominations. I guess if not, we have to start thinking about who this year's nominations are going to be.
Yeah, over the years, it's been a combination. Sometimes we've had nominations, and that's always nice. But by the same token, all of us have lived in the town for a while, and we know what's going on in the town. And especially like last year with Mark and Dara, I think they were a really good choice, and no one nominated them except basically the EAC. So, we certainly can do that as well if we don't receive nominations.
Yeah, everybody be looking around for a good nominee.
All right. So then we're going to skip over number 9 because Kevin's not here. So then that just brings us to other discussions. We kind of hit on the outdoor nature information kind of in the lecture series, which we're hoping to do something like that at Patterson. I think the recycling information is just like other things that we could possibly think about for recycling.
Yeah, we could hand out flyers at the May 15th event where you can recycle electronics, at least make them available.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. That's a good idea.
At the styrofoam event? Is that what you said, Alan?
What'd you say?
Yes, that's, yeah.
Oh, the 15th, yeah. People come and drop off their styrofoam and we can
That's
have
a great idea. Yeah.
Do you think it's a good idea to also just look online, either talk to the waste haulers or look online, what should and shouldn't be normally recycled, just household recycles, and hand that out to people?
I started looking into that. I didn't get too far. And I started with waste management, and they have a pretty good, they have some good information on there, easy to read, but I still had a lot of questions about what they said they could and couldn't recycle. So I think that's a good idea, and I will, work on it. I was going to call them, and I never got through, but like Republic. But I will keep on trying to get in touch and get some questions answered and find
do that, or eventually when you get the information, we can put it on the webpage then.
Right. Yes, I think it should be on there. And the other thing is, I'm not sure. One of the questions I want to ask is, I'm not sure that everything is the same across. Waste management is across the whole country, right?
Yes.
Well, I think they're a national concern.
Yeah. So I don't think what they accept here is accepted in other places. Maybe it is, but I mean, that's the kind of question I want to ask. And I want to ask how well, if they have any kind of information on whether people in Lower Makefield are doing what they, recycling what they're supposed to be recycling. Because you always hear that if there's one thing in there that shouldn't be in there, that the whole thing can get thrown out. And I'm not sure that's true, but I'd like to find out about that. It might even be something we would want to, if we had one trash hauler, we could have them come in and speak to us about, what we can and cannot do. But when there are three, it's hard to do that. But anyway, I'll get more information, and I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Definitely a good idea.
And then, so the Yardley Living article, it was me, Jim and Jean, Kevin, and Heather showed up for the photo shoot. You guys missed out on all the fun.
I sent in a photo.
Did you? Good.
Yeah. I'm not sure it made it in, Alan.
Oh, no.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, we did our best anyway. I think I just reviewed the article, the finished article a couple of hours ago, and I think the town is going to be very, very pleased, and I think all the EAC members are going to be very, very pleased, because I acted as the middle person in this when people were funneling me the information, and I funneled it to Heather DePrado, and then I did an edit afterwards. And she wanted information on some of the past projects we work on, where we're heading in the future, our environmental stewardship award, some of the awards that we've actually, earned over the years. So it was a pretty comprehensive article, I think, very well written. And again, I think it's going to be excellent publicity for the EAC. Also, they featured Heather Guadis from Kona Composting, and also the Cub Scout group that was recycling Christmas lights. So, there's several, a couple of others involved in the article, but the major part of the article was dealing with the EAC, and there's several photos too, which I think their photographer did a real nice job. She had us, as Linda well knows, we're posing on fences and turning around and waving, whatever made her happy, I guess. So she took probably 50 photos and probably used 2 or 3. But anyway, I think it's going to be in the April issue, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, it was supposed to be the April issue for Earth Day.
Yeah, I think all the EAC members are going to be very proud, and I think the Township Board of Supervisors and other personnel are going to be very, very pleased, because it makes our town look very good.
I think that is it, unless anyone has any.
Oh, can't hear you.
Anybody have any other discussions that we want to talk about?
Well, you got to get going, right?
I do have.
No, yeah.
I have a little bit of time, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, no food in the background here, so.
All right. Well, hopefully we get some new members, because at least 5 people emailed me after that article it wasn't the Yardley Voice, or Yardley Voice, yeah.
Right.
But Suzanne might know, but she's not here. So.
Yeah, I wonder if that's you don't know if there's been any movement on that?
Well, I told them how to apply, but I don't know if they applied, because
right.
I don't know, you might be able to find out, Linda.
I'll ask Suzanne, because how are they going to do? I guess they can do a Zoom interview.
Right.
But no one's contacted me to say that we've gotten anyone that's been approved yet. But I'll shoot an email to Suzanne and just see if there's been anyone that's contacted the board.
Mm-hmm. Besides the 8-year-old.
A Yardley Living article will generate some interest too, so.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right. Well, thank you. All right. So I guess we are going to call this meeting to order.
to end.
Adjourn.
Ends to order. Adjourn.
You want to start all over again?
No. I'm really having a rough day. I've had a horrible day at work today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, there's,
Doing well today.
and you can contribute the cork to the recycling event, Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have a couple of them.
Silver lining. And we have an April
Right.
meeting, right? April meeting.
We
date?
do have an April meeting. Yeah. In the original email that was sent, there are two.
Two, okay.
There's an April there was a March and an April Zoom call meeting number. So
Okay.
don't get rid of, if you do, just let me know. I have the original email still.
Right.
But yes, there is an April 10th. Hold on.
Oh, you know what? I have,
April 14th meeting. That's when it is.
Okay.
So, okay. All right. So we're going to call this meeting adjourned. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, I will second that motion.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone.
bye.
All right.
Bye.
You too.
Uh,
Alan, my brother wanted to say hi.